What are you looking at? Standard intro. Okay, standard intro. Works for me. I forgot to look for obscure songs. Anyway, so standard intro. Sounds great. Is your banner straight? Okay. Don't be doing no bows with a crooked banner. Got it? No crooked banner bows. You're supposed to be part of the pride of the station. It's like a bow tie. You keep your banner straight. You're supposed to be part of the pride of the station. Got it? Standard intro? Okay. Standard intro. Now, hopefully it stays like that. From the WDWL TV multiplex, live from the Palm Tree area. With great anticipation, we bring you the pride of this station, the grumpy old man, and, the grumpy vulture. Would you like to take your bow? Okay, take your bow. Now remember, keep the banner up. That's it. A little cockeyed, but it'll work. All right, back in your spotlight. Look at the camera. There you go. Let me move this out of the way. Let me move this out of the way. And of course, Kathy's here first. And maybe only at the rate we've been going. How you doing tonight? It was too goddamn cold and windy for me to go today. I didn't feel like going up and getting my Lawson's chip dip. Hopefully tomorrow. Although I do have some left, but not Lawson's. I'm trying to think of the name. Dairy Fresh. They make sour cream. Is it Dairy Fresh? I think it's Dairy Fresh. Our store just started carrying their French onion chip dip. Very close to Lawson's. Very close. No cigar, but close. A little pricey, but I'll try anything once. I know one thing for sure. I'm never trying those oots, uts, potato chips again. Jesus. I could grease my truck with them goddamn things that were so bad. Man, those are the greasiest potato chips I've ever eaten. I've had some generics that were on the greasy side, but geez, you could pour the oil out of the bag. These things are so greasy. I've been telling everybody, if you like potato chips, don't buy Oots unless you want to grease your car afterwards. Man, those are nasty. And then we have a correction we have to make. Ted Knight was not on WKRP. Ted Knight was the newsman on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. I don't know how I got him confused with WKRP, but yeah, he was the goofball newsman on WKRP, on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. So we have to make that correction. My fault on that one. And I found the sign on Temu. The WKRP Thanksgiving Day turkey drop. I think it's like $3. It's on closeout. It's a metal sign. And evidently they dropped the turkeys out of helicopters. I might be ordering it. I don't know. I got more goddamn signs. I got enough signs to fill a wall. And then in my bedroom, I've got about 12 cat signs. I forgot to write it down. Ted Knight's name was, it was like Russian or Polish, or Ted Knight was his TV name. His name's about that long. I should have wrote it down. I knew it. I knew it. Then another correction. The peanut butter cookies were not Tangelos. They were Tagalongs. The peanut butter cookies were Tagalongs, and the coconut were Samoas. And I think I just went brain dead. Oh shit. I went totally brain dead. God damn, don't ever get old. Oh, holy shit. Okay, wait. I believe the shortbread cookies were called Do-si-dos. Or trefoils, one or the other. Do-si-dos or they have more goofy names. But you can order them online. A minimum of 4 boxes. A 4-box minimum. At $6 a box. I won't be placing my normal 4-box order. That's a little pricey. But you can order them. And the way it works, when you go on Girl Scouts whatever, gs.org or dgs.com, you order them, get this, through a troop that is still selling them, I believe in Savannah, Georgia, because the Ohio is done. You place your order online through that troop, and then they will ship your cookies. Okay, those were the shortbread. Yeah, I should have wrote it down. I was more shocked that you could actually order them online. And I was also shocked at $6 a box. Whoa! For that little box? I know you're supporting a good organization, but that is pricey. I would tend to think they are not selling anywhere near the boxes of cookies they were selling when they were 50 cents a box. And then I forgot to look up Mally's to see how much the candy bars are now. I would tend to think they're probably around $3 a bar. I'll just stop in. I drive right past it when I go up to my doctor's office, so I pass it twice. Going to the hospital and going home. So I'll stop in at Mally's and scope out the candy bars and buy some. I haven't had their Rice Krispie bars in eons. So I think I can fit it into my budget to buy 5 or 6 bars. It ain't no buying 1 or 2. Even if they are $3-4 a bar, I'm gonna have, the first bar I don't even taste when I eat it, unless they shrunk the size. That's what really ticks me off. You look at the price of candy. Like Three Musketeers, like $3.85 for a candy bar, and it's half the size of what it was when I was young. Same thing, boxes of Cracker Jack. They're smaller. Everything. And then I read today, Dollar Tree is going to be boosting prices. It's either going to be $1.50 or $1.75, and the $5 area will now be including $7 items. And I was reading all the comments where people like, oh, here we go, raise the prices, people are going to quit shopping there. Well, not me. If I can go in there and buy I forgot to look at that detergent, whether it's 16 or 20 ounces. Either way, if I can buy it for $1.75, why would I want to go to like Gigantic Eaglet and pay $3 or $4 for that same size bottle? I only do one load a week. On occasions, two. Now, like tomorrow, I'm going to be doing sheets and pillowcases and bedspread. So, this week is the odd week. But most of the time, it's one load of clothes a week. A bottle of detergent and fabric softener lasts me 6 weeks, maybe. I don't mind paying $1.75. 90% of the items that I buy in there is well worth paying $1.75. Like dish detergent. They get that big bottle. I can't remember how many ounces it is. If I go to Mark's, that bottle is $4. I see all these people bitching, at the end of this article. Oh, well, they're going the route of Big Lots. Well, Big Lots kind of lost their direction for their mission statement. Big Lots kind of got a little goofy. Not to mention, mismanagement. So, yeah. But Dollar Tree, I'll still shop there. When it went from $1 to $1.25, I didn't go like, that's it, I'm done. 90% of the items I buy at Dollar Tree, I have no problem paying 50 cents more. None whatsoever. I don't know where these people, where their thinking is. I do not see half their customers walking away from them because they're going to raise prices 25 or 50 cents. Like the one up the street from me. It's kind of in a really depressed area. There's a lot of seniors and a lot of poor people in that area. I don't see them walking away from that store if they raise the price another quarter or 50 cents. So we all knew it was coming. With all these tariffs, we all knew prices are going to go up. If Dollar Tree is only going to raise a quarter to 50 cents, I got no problem with it. I'm gladly going to go there because I'm not going to go to Gigantic Eaglet and pay 2.5 times the price for the same size item. I commented on the. I'm waiting for all the negative. I said it's still the best deal in town. When I go up to Mark's, I walk down the detergent aisle and I see the prices of detergent, and it's enough to, oh my God, it scares the shit out of me. I don't know how people with big families can survive. I really don't. And people with big families are idiots today. You know, back in the day, have 5, 6, 7, 8 kids, okay. Today, I could not see a married couple sitting down going, I think we should have 6 or 7 kids. Not unless you're making $300,000 a year. I can totally understand why the birth rate is dropping. Because people can't afford to have kids. You know, back in the day, like, you know, when I was born, I'm sure not all parents thought that, but they always prayed for at least one male to pass on the family name. Well, people don't think like that anymore. I mean, like right now, after my son is gone, our family name is gone. Not that, you know, I'll be around to see it happen, but he's going to be 40 years old. I don't see any heirs coming. And really, when you come down to it, it's not that important. Back after WWII, yeah, people looked at it like, oh, we want to have heirs to, you know, keep the family name going. It'll be unfortunate, but sooner or later it was going to happen anyway. I mean, at least I had an heir to pass the family name on to. My job done. But, you know, the thinking today, one of the kids I went to school with, they had 9 kids. And 8 of the 9 were girls. I always thought, you know, later on in life, I was thinking to myself, God forbid if they all had their monthly at the same time, old Dad would be sleeping in the car at night. But yeah, 9 kids. Matter of fact, there was a family that lived up the street. They had 12. Real good Catholics they were. 12 kids. That's insanity. Especially in today's world. Get a pencil and a piece of paper. I'm gonna give you a YouTube site to check out. I came across it by accident, and I mean really by accident, because I clicked on the wrong in the search bar. Type in the name Lindy. Lindey. Lindy. Glenn. Glenn. Cindy Glenn. Then, when you bring up her YouTube page, there are 2 videos that I feel are real important to watch. One video is entitled Walmart Employees Harassing Shoppers Over Receipts. The other one, and I experienced this, AT&T shady billing. She goes into great detail about the shady billing with AT&T, how like every other month your bill goes up by a little increment until it gets ridiculous. And that was one of the reasons I dumped AT&T, because my cable/phone bill every couple of months would be like $1.25 more or $1.80 more. They did it sneaky, and it was always some sort of fee. And when my bill got outrageous, I couldn't wait for my phone contract to end. Because as soon as my phone contract had ended, I went with Consumer Cellular. And then when my cable contract ended, I quit. I said, that's it. No more. I'm done. My contracts are up. See ya. And then I went with Spectrum. And all I have with them is internet, with a guaranteed lock for a year. So, that Walmart, you will find it quite interesting, Kathy. First of all, Walmart is not allowed to ask you to see your receipt on the way out. It's against the law. And what they're doing in some stores, they will literally hijack the cart. They had one guy, they stopped him out in the parking lot. And he said, I don't have to show you my receipt. And they literally dragged him and his cart back in the store. And when he kept asking for a manager, they kept refusing. And then finally the police showed up. And he said to the cop, I will show you my receipt. And the Walmart employee said, well, we have to see it. And he told the cop, don't let it out of your hand. Show them the receipt. And they blipped everything in his fucking cart like he was a thief. You do not. Now, if you're a Sam's Club or a Costco, yes, it's written in the fine print. Walmart, no. And they can't hijack your cart, because once you purchase and you own those goods in the cart, they can't take them away from you. And this guy knew what he was talking about because they started to take stuff out of the cart and he said, "That's theft. Those are my goods. I paid for them." They were going to take them out of his cart. You do not have to show your receipt at Walmart. Home Depot, yes. It's written in their store policy. If you're asked to show your receipt at Home Depot, you have to show it. Walmart, no. And they cannot detain you. So if they ever ask you to see your receipt, you tell them, "I don't have to show it to you by law." And if they start to chase you, call the police. It is illegal. They cannot do that. And this expose that Lindy did, oh, it's dynamite. That's why I wanted to put it out. I even shared it. I'll tell you what, this girl does a hell of a job. She does a hell of a job. She knows her shit. And you know what? In the Walmart training videos, it says if a customer refuses to show a receipt, allow them to exit the store. It's in their training videos. And they're holding people hostage to see a receipt. And this guy that they were holding hostage had $300 purchase at a cash register with a cashier, not self-scan. That's what he told him. He told the officer. That girl down there at register 4 checked me out. So if they ever ask you again, just say, "Nope, don't have to show you by law and by your store policy. I don't have to show you." And if they chase you and grab your cart, call the police. Because it is against the law. Once you pay, you own everything in that cart. They cannot hold it hostage. I don't show my receipt to anybody. Now at Home Depot, yes, I know that. It's store policy. I've known that forever. If they asked, but 90% of the time at Home Depot, I'm only buying 1 or 2 items. And I'm checking out with a cashier. They don't pay me to self-scan. I'm not getting no extra discount for checking myself out. I don't believe in that goddamn self-scan shit. Matter of fact, the last time I was at Aldi's, I had like 9 items. I don't even get a cart. I go in there with a... Matter of fact, I've got the Aldi heavy-duty shopping bag. I bought one. And the girl at the register said, "You know, you could have self-scanned. You didn't have to wait." Like the woman in front of me had like 400 items. I said, "I don't self-scan for 2 reasons." I said, 1, they're not paying me or giving me an extra discount. And for 2, I want to keep you working. And she looked at me and she went, Wow, you're the first customer to ever say that. I said, look over there. How many people are out of work? What do you got? 8, 10 registered over there? That's no jobs. I'll wait in line with one item just to keep that cashier in her job. Last time I went to Home Depot, the girl, I'm standing in line. I got 2 items. There were bolts and nuts. I had a bag of bolts and I had I had 4 bags. I had a bag of bolts. I had a bag of flat washers. I had a bag of lock washers and a bag of nuts. And I'm standing there. She's like, "Come on over here. You can." I said, She says, "I'll scan it for you." Okay. Blip, 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 blip. I refused to scan it myself. Like at Aldi's. That, oh my God. A woman had 2 carts. 2 carts. I'm standing there with my 9 items. As a matter of fact, the guy behind me said, I said, no, I don't do that. They don't pay me to scan my own. I'm not an employee. And 90% of the time, I order stuff from Homeless Depot online. They ship it free and they deliver it to my side door. I didn't even go to the store. The only time I'll go to the store is if I have a question about an item. And I have to eyeball it, like the washer. I still hate that machine. You know, in a way, the virus really created something good when you had to order online. Because I just got into the habit of, I buy something from the Homeless Depot. I have my Homeless Depot credit card. Very rarely do I go in the store. Very rarely. In Walmart, I haven't physically been in Walmart, I'll say probably 10 years. Easy. I order a lot online. I don't go in the store. It's a pain in the ass to drive down to that store. Not to mention the clientele that's in that store. Just saying. That's like, where is it? There, hold on. Here, I got this today from the Homeless Depot. It's a rack that goes under my TV to hold my sound bar. Because I got that cart now. And I needed something for my sound bar. Free delivery. Homeless Depot. Matter of fact, the new rack will be here tomorrow. UPS. And my other 2 t-shirts didn't come today. They'll be here tomorrow. My microphone went out. Yeah, they arrived at my local substation too late to make delivery today. So they'll be here tomorrow. And then I'm waiting on 4 more. Possibly 6. I found 2 more. They're in my shopping cart. I'm thinking about them. I'm like, God damn, how many t-shirts do I need? Although I could wear a shirt over them and it don't make no difference. A lot of times like now, I got that long sleeve t-shirt on because I'm goddamn cold. And most of the time I got a hoodie on too. But the hoodie's got to go in the laundry. It's black. So all the black will be washed in one load. And watch them shirts not shrink, and then they'll be like tents on me. Because I ordered them 2X. No, 1X. I wear XL. I ordered 1XL. Watch them not shrink. Be my luck. That's all right. They'll be roomy. But for $2 or $3 for a t-shirt, works for me. I think the last time I was at the Bullseye, 3 Hanes t-shirts were like $14.95. Just plain white cotton t-shirts. And that was probably 4 years ago. I can imagine what they're at now. Prices are getting scary. And they're only going to get worse. That guy sitting in that big house is a millionaire. He ain't thinking about poor Grumpy on unsociable security, pinching pennies. Matter of fact, if I see a penny cup and somebody puts silver in it, I take it. And I've already had people say, hey, put that back. I said, hey, somebody left it there for someone that needed it. I need it. Every penny cup, if I see silver, it's mine. And then I come home and I have the large pill bottles. Quarters, dimes, nickels, right on my dresser. Take out of my pocket, ding, 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 ding. And then every now and then I count it, and if I got enough to roll, then I roll it. And then I use it at the gas station. I'll tell you what, I used to make good money taking shopping carts back to Save-A-Lot. Because Save-A-Lot used to have the carts like Aldi's. And people, you know, I'd say to them, you going to take that cart back? Yeah, it's only a quarter. Okay, I'll take the cart back. I used to average $3 to $5 a week. I'd go all over the parking lot taking carts back to get a quarter. Well, dumb Save-A-Lot, they would leave the carts outside the store. Well, kids started busting the goddamn receivers on the carts to get the quarters. So they took them all off. Free carts now. There went my gas money. Same thing. I will drive through a parking lot and pick up aluminum cans. And then I've got 4 or 5, the old round garbage can, what are they, 20 gallon, 30 gallon, whatever they are. And I chuck the cans in, and when I've got 4 garbage cans full, I take them up to the scrapyard. Kids laugh at it. Look at the old man picking up cans. Hey, when the price of aluminum goes up, Grumpy loads the cans in the back of the truck and up to the scrapyard he goes. I'll bet, and you know what? I am not embarrassed to bend down and pick up a penny on the ground. And every time I go into either Save-A-Lot or Family Dollar or Dollar Tree, the first thing I do is I look at the floor by the cash registers. And it's amazing how much change you will find on the floor. And I'll pick it all up and put it in my pocket. My grandfather picked up pennies until the day he passed. It's money. Plain and simple, it's money. And then they're talking about doing away with the pennies, like Canada. Well, you know damn right well, if they do eliminate the pennies, every store is going to round up their prices. You think if a price is $1.91, they're going to say, okay, it's $1.90. No, now it's going to be $1.95. And then all the tax rates have to change because everything has to equal out to eliminate the penny. You know, there's no law that says pennies have to be made out of copper. In 1943 and somewhat into 44, the government stamped steel pennies because they needed the copper for the war effort. And I have a roll of steel pennies. They're hard to find because they rust. So if people leave them in their cup holders, they'll rust. But I have a whole roll of them. I got a 50-cent roll. Matter of fact, I show it every now and then. I'll say, look at it. You ever see a steel penny? They could very easily do that. I'm trying to think. Was it 20? I can't remember if it was 2004 or 2014 when Canada eliminated the pennies. Because I've got a bunch of Canadian pennies. You never saw a steel penny? I think I got some loose ones. I'm not going to crack that roll open. If I got some loose ones, I'll hold the one up with a pair of tweezers. Yeah, they're dark gray. Gray steel. I think it was late 43, definitely all of 1944. The mint stamped steel pennies to save the copper for the war effort. And I have a whole roll of them. And you mention it to people, you know, do you ever see a steel penny? And then you show it to them and they're like, oh, these are counterfeit. Gargle it. You don't believe me? Gargle it. Steel pennies during the war to save the copper. They're the strangest looking. And they don't, you know, they're lightweight too. They don't weigh like a copper penny. I'm pretty sure I got some loose ones. If I got some loose ones, my surgical forceps. No, these are regular. I have a bunch of instruments, and they have gold. Oh, you can't see it. That's the problem. Yeah, well, somewhat. See that? Gold. These are for heart surgery. Heart surgeons get gold instruments. A normal surgeon gets regular heart surgery gold tipped instruments. People don't know that. All surgical instruments for heart surgery have gold. Now, these are kind of tarnished, but I have a whole shitload. After so long, they can't use them. And technically, the hospital is supposed to ship these to a third world country. Even though there's nothing wrong with them. Well, Grumpy's a third world country. I got a whole drawer full of gold ones. The girl that used to sterilize all the instruments, when they go to get rid of them, she put them in a bag and give them to me because it was a pain in the ass to fill out all the paperwork and the customs declarations and all that. So she'd go, "Here, Grumpy, I got some instruments." Okay. I had a 3-drawer Craftsman toolbox full of surgical instruments. You ought to see some of the oddball ones I got. Oh, yeah. But I'll tell you what, they have come in handy. Like, I'm working on something in the car, and the damn bolt falls down, and it's like at the edge of the engine, but you can't get it from up top, and you can't get it from the bottom. Take these big giant forceps and go down. They were also great if your tape got stuck in your car cassette player. You go in there real gently and get the tape and get it out without breaking it, and then you wind the tape back up. There we go. Save that cassette. Of course, cars don't have cassette players. The new ones don't have CD players. They have an aux jack. Oh boy. Or what? Apple CarPlay or Android Inc. or some shit. Neither of my cars have that. Although I did have to put a new radio in the shitbox. And it's got an aux jack. So I take my CD player, plug it into the radio, take my Walkman cassette player, plug it into the radio, listen to all my music. Let's see, do I have any other notes here? All right, Lindy Glenn. Yeah, we talked about Walmart, the AT&T. We talked about Dollar Tree, WKRP, Ted Knight, Girl Scout cookies. Both sides of my list. Actually got through it tonight. Everything I wanted to talk about. What year is your truck? Oh yeah, no ashtray, no cigarette lighters. That's what really ticked me off. People still smoke. That's probably right around the last year for the CD players. You probably got one of the last years, because a friend of mine's got a 2020 Silverado. It don't have no. He couldn't even order a CD player. So I told him, go on eBay. They still make them. Buy yourself a portable CD player. Get yourself a cable that has a plug on each end. And when you plug it in the aux jack and you plug it into your headphone jack, and you can play your music you can play your CDs or cassettes. You can still find them on eBay. That's what I told him. Because he would bitch and he goes, oh, Jesus Christ, I got like 500 CDs. I said, just go on eBay, get yourself a portable CD player, and he did. And that way he could play his CDs to his heart's content. But you probably got one of the last years you could get it from the factory. I don't know when the cutoff was, but it's got to be right around 14, 15. So you were lucky. You real lucky. Especially if you play, CDs. But yeah, when they eliminated the ashtrays, that really was bullshit. Eliminate the ashtrays and the cigarette lighters. Whoa, it's a power port. Well, you can't put a cigarette lighter in it. And, how much were they saving by eliminating ashtrays? When you really come down to it, how much were they saving? I know one dealer, I don't know if he still does it. He would buy them portable ashtrays that go in your cup holder. And if people wanted one, they would give them to them. Say, here's a portable ashtray for your cup holder. And then people are like, well, gee, that takes me down to one cup holder. Well, then put your ashtray in between your legs then. I've got one that's got a hook. I could hook it on the air vent. or I could hook it on the glove box. I got in both, well, both of mine have ashtrays, okay? With the Nissan, I promised the girl that I bought it from that I wouldn't use the ashtray. Because even though her mother was a smoker, her mother ordered that truck brand new and never used the ashtray. Now, Christine was a smoker. When her mother passed and she inherited the truck, she never used the ashtray. Because when I bought it, she made a big to-do about, here, look, your ashtray is still virgin. I was like, oh, really? Why? I said, you smoke. Well, my mother never used it. I was like, yeah. Well, as a tribute to my mother, I didn't use it. And I would appreciate it if you didn't use it. I said, okay. So I bought a portable ashtray. I keep my my thumb drives in the ashtray because I've got music on thumb drives. I can plug the thumb drive into my radio. So my ashtray's got thumb drives in it. No ashes. Even though I never met her mother, I'm keeping Mom in my memory by not using the ashtray as an ashtray. And the Toyota, the goddamn ashtray's in such a stupid spot. Now, Marianne, she used her ashtray in the RAV4. Me, I go to flick ashes in it and I hit my hand on the shifter and the ashes go all over the place. I got a portable ashtray, I hang it up on the top of the dash and I just reach over and... But when the auto manufacturers did away with them, they always penalize the smokers. And there should be, like years ago, a car came without a radio. And there was a faceplate, but if you wanted a radio, you pop that faceplate out and the dash had a hole cut in it for the radio. You mean to tell me that they couldn't do that with an ashtray? And if you wanted one, a dealer option, pop off the plate on the dash and plug an ashtray in? No. They just took it upon themselves that, hey, screw you smokers. Even though you're paying, 80 grand for our vehicle, screw you. If you smoke, too bad. You don't get an ashtray or a cigarette lighter. It's like them telling you, sorry, you can't have a metallic blue car. We refuse to paint cars metallic blue. A 91? Wow. Antique. Older than mine. I got 97s. Ah, damn. Now, break my heart and tell me it's an automatic. I'm trying to find an F-150 with a manual. I think, I have to research again, I think 2001 was the last year Ford put a manual transmission in the F-150s. And I've been trying to find one, and they're like trying to find teeth on a chicken. Oh, double gas tank. What does it hold? Like 70 gallons? Yeah, my buddy had a 40 Econoline van with twin tanks. I think when he filled them both, it was like 62 gallons. Can you imagine that today? Holy shit. And you know, a lot of people, they won't use that second tank. And the tank it'll get rusty. You have to use both them tanks. Like I told my buddy, at least put 10 gallons in that tank. For one, you're keeping gas in it. It's going to eliminate any moisture getting in the tank. And for two, if you run out of gas in tank one, you got an emergency tank too. That's a weird option on a 150. That had to be special order. Now I know on the 250s and 350s, it's on the order sheet. But on an F-150, I think that was a special order for two tanks. Yeah, if he bought that truck new, either the dealer ordered it that way, or if he ordered it, that was a special order. On an F-150, there wasn't a box that you could check for dual tanks. It was an add-on. Because the cheaper, well, the F-150 was supposed to be a cheaper version, but I ran into a guy a couple weeks ago. He had an F-150, just a plain Jane, regular cab, and bare bones. Now, it had an automatic in it, but it didn't have the console and all. And what caught my eye was it said F-150 XL, not XLT. And it looked really strange because it looked like a fleet truck. So I waited around till he came out. And I said, "Where did you get that truck?" He says, "Why?" I said, "It ain't got nothing on it. No console, column shifter, bare bones." He said, I wanted it that way. I ordered it. It took him 9 months because it's a special build. Because they don't make a strip out. But like he told me, I don't want all that crap. Manual mirrors, crank windows. It's just a fleet truck. That's what it looked like. Not to mention ugly metallic brown, but it said Ford F-150 XL. And that's what caught my eye, because you never see an XL. Everything is an XLT. Oh, that's why. That's why it's got the twin tanks. That explains it right there. They ordered it that way because that's an oddball truck. But you know, you can't. Oh my God, that's right. The 91s have wing windows. Oh yeah, I'll tell you what. Those are great in winter because you can get fresh air and you don't have to put down a goddamn window. The old wing windows. Yeah. Oh, goddamn, yeah. That was another stupid thing, you know, to do away with them. But it's engineering, you know, less weight. We don't have to design all that shit. God, I remember my father had a Cadillac, had power wing windows. Those were cool. I'd play with them. Leave them alone. Well, it's kind of cool. It was one of the greatest inventions on a vehicle because and especially if you were a smoker, you could crack the wing window and you could drive like I used to do. I just hang my cigarette out the wing window. That truck's a keeper. You ever get rid of it? There's somebody right here in Cleveland. I'd take a Greyhound down there to pick it up and drive it all the way home. Another thing I'm looking for a 3 on the tree. I'm trying to find an old Ford with a 3 on the tree. I haven't driven a 3 on the tree since I got out of high school. I want one so bad. Because it's well over 25 years old. And see, you live in an area down there where things don't rot like they do here in Cleveland. You know, we get 1 inch of snow, they put down 7 inches of salt. And then vehicles end up looking like my shitbox. One of these days I'll take some pictures with my cell phone. It is a shitbox. There's no floor in the bed. I got plywood in it. If I lift the plywood up, there's just cross members. The bed's about ready to fall. The quarter panel, well, I got a ratchet strap holding the quarter panels on to keep the tailgate from falling off. Oh, I'd take that truck in a heartbeat. Not to mention it's a Ford. I'm a Ford person, even though I got a Nissan and a Toyota. I had a shitload of Rangers. They were all manuals, too. Every Ranger I had was a manual. I miss them Rangers. Although I'll tell you, this Nissan just runs and runs and runs. The most dependable vehicle, except for the body. I wish I could find a real nice, clean Ford Ranger. And I take the body and the bed off the Ranger and drop it on the Nissan frame. That would be too much work. I'm too old for that bullshit. That'd be something I would have done like 20 years ago. I found a cab for it once, but I don't have the facilities to swap a cab. But I would love to save that drivetrain out of that Nissan. Oh man, that truck just runs and runs and runs. Although it's due for an oil change. I've been getting a little laxed about my oil changes. I do them myself in my driveway. Neighbors think I'm nuts. What are you doing crawling underneath that truck? I'm changing the oil. And I like the way the engine is in the RAV4, because the oil filter is upside down. I can change the oil filter without getting a drop of oil on me or the ground or anything, because it drains out completely. Although that thing, it burns so much oil, I don't bother changing it. I change the filter every now and then. Every 6 weeks I have to put spark plugs in it because it oil fouls so bad. The goddamn oil seals are shot. So I blow through probably 1.5 quarts a month, maybe 2 quarts. I just keep a shitload of oil in the back. Every now and pull the dipstick and go, whoop, time for 1.5 quarts. And then the end of 6 weeks, the thing's missing like hell from oil fouled plugs. I got a set of 4 right now in the console. When the plugs fall out, it only takes me like 15 minutes to change them. They're real easy because they're right on top. Pop off the plug wires. New plugs. It runs great for 5.5 weeks. And then you go to start it and it's like, time for plugs. Everybody keeps telling me to get rid of it. Why? I don't care if it's polluting the atmosphere. It's got 210,000 miles on it, and the engine runs as sweet as can be. It just oil fouls the spark plugs. And I get them off of eBay. That's another. If I go up to the auto parts store, 4 spark plugs for the RAV4, $30. I found a seller on eBay, NGK's, $13.95 and free shipping. So when I put in the new plugs, I go right on eBay, I reorder, I get them in a couple of days, I put them in the console. When it starts to run rough, pop the plugs out, put in new ones. No big deal. Then 5.5 weeks later, $13.95. And 2 quarts of oil a month. And I don't bother changing it. It goes through oil so fast, I just change the filter. I got to get that thing running. I've got all the parts for it. I got the fuel line, I got the fuel pump, the fuel pump's in it. The fuel pump relay. So I got to run the fuel line from the pump up to the manifold, and then I got a return line I got to run to the back, and now hopefully that's all it's going to need. I miss driving that thing. Hopefully I can wheel and deal on that Passat. There's not a big problem with that. Although Jim said most of it was electrical. Like the sunroof, I ain't gonna use it. The back windows, I ain't gonna use them. The only window I'm gonna use is the window in the driver's door. I don't care if the rest of them don't work. I don't care if the sunroof don't work. I never liked sunroofs anyway. A convertible, yes. A hole in the roof, no. The only killer to that one will be if it needs a clutch. Although, I don't think Jim would have bought the thing if it needed a clutch. But I'll find out one of these days when his son comes over and we wheel and deal. I just don't want to see another manual transmission go to a boneyard. Not to mention the car looks, don't have no rust on it. And it's a nice metallic green. I already have the roof, I have the light bar, I have the CB, I have the flashing lights, I have the siren. Add it to my fleet. I hope it don't have serious problems. I really hope. Minor engine problems I can deal with. I can fix that. The electrical, like I say, I don't need to put the back windows down. I don't need to use the sunroof. I really don't need to put the right front door window down. As long as the one over here works, fine. I found a neat cold air intake. I'm planning on all kinds of shit. Watch me not get that car. Plan on hopping it up and I don't even have it yet. Not to mention, I can't put plates on it until next year anyway. Because it's an '01. So in order for me to beat the E-check, it's got to be 25 years old. So I can't do a damn thing until January of 26. Gives me time to work on it. Because I guarantee the goddamn check engine light is on. That way I can beat the inspection. That way I'll have three manuals. If that Porsche wasn't so bad, I'd try to save that, but every time I look in it, something's growing more and more and more in it. The interior in that car is scary. I'd be afraid to open the door. With all that mold in there, I would be afraid to open that door. Without a moon suit and a mask. As much as I'd like to have a Porsche, I ain't going near that car. I don't even want to be near it if they open a door on it. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell Jim's son, don't open the door. Goddamn mold will kill you. I think I'm going to stay with this background for a while. This one and the one I had up after this one. The one that I had up yesterday, it's a little too dark. I tried fooling with lights today. I couldn't without blowing it away. Now see, this one, I got mild blue lights. Well, except the one by the bird. I couldn't turn that one down too much more. Well, let me see if I bump it down one notch. Then see, you can't see it. Whoa! Way too bright. Back it down, back it down, back it down, back it down. Okay, bump one. There we go. Did you notice the new accent light over the Vulture? Now you can see him better hanging there. I put a filter on it. It toned it down just enough. That's one of them sun catchers. You're supposed to hang that in a window and then let the sunlight come through it. But if I put the light behind it, you can't see it. So I put one over the top. And then I put a filter on it. And now you can see the bird hanging there. That other background, oh man, it was driving me crazy. I moved the lights out, I moved them around, I put them up, I put them down, aimed them from the floor up, and so these two on this side are are actual lights that they use in a professional studio. So I was able to put the blue filter in them. And then it's, oh man, all the different light settings. So I've got it down as far as I could do it. See, technically, I need like a bigger studio. But I think the lighting looks pretty good this way. Between this background and the other background, but the waterfall is too dark, and there was no way I can light that one right. So this one looks pretty good. I'll use this one for a while. I'll trade off between the two until the one that's on back order, because that's like that red one, but it's a different angle. It's the same studio, but that one's a different angle. I can't wait for that one to get here. Maybe I'll put that one up tomorrow. The red, because that red one looked pretty good. We'll get away from the Hawaiian background. We'll go back to the studio background. Gee, Jenny must really not be feeling good. I thought she'd pop in and say, "Oh, I'm feeling better tonight." And oh, who was that newbie? Do you know who that? I can't even remember the name. We had that newbie that popped in for a while. Is that somebody you knew? I wish I would have written the name. Well, I can go back. It was somebody brand new. They popped in for a little bit and then they left. And they never came back. Some people that pop in, they go, "Oh, Jesus, we ain't coming back here." Delete. If they were looking for drama and controversy, they got the wrong place. But that was a brand new name. I can't remember. I'll have to play it back and then write it down. See who it was. You know when they pop in like that for a couple of minutes and they never come back, you can't remember who they were. But like, it's been eons since Nomad, although with the time change it kind of, it was something like that, Woozy or something like that. And then, Wyatt, he hadn't been feeling good. And you kind of worry about people, I'd like at least Wyatt to pop in and say, "Hey, I'm still around." Because he had that lingering headache that wouldn't go away. And then, our Australian buddy, he hasn't been here in quite a while. And I think it's daytime down there right now. Do I suck that bad that people don't want to come back? Kind of scary. Yeah, we don't see, Nomad. We haven't seen Neckbeard. Who is our Australian buddy? He hasn't been around in so long I forget who he was. Who is our Australian buddy? I can't remember his name. I'm drawing a dead blank. Wasn't he something records? Was it Mears? No, records was Neckbeard. Was it Mears? See, people have been gone so long, I forget who the hell they were. Yeah, we got no Wyatt. We got no Neckbeard. We got no Nomad. I hope Jenny isn't really sick. See, Jenny, it sounded a bit serious. That's why I told her, get it checked out. Because it could have been food poisoning. Could have been salmonella. Yeah, I hope it's nothing serious with her. You ain't gonna find somebody that's so concerned about their chat like I am. Geez, I don't even know these people. I'm all worried, Wyatt, when you got a headache that just won't go away, there's something going on. And even though he said he had good care with the VA, sometimes they just kind of blow you off. So I'm hoping it was nothing serious. And same thing with Jenny. Because, all right, food poisoning you'll get over. But salmonella, if she got salmonella, that requires going to the hospital. At least the emergency room. I sit here and worry about my chatters. And I still can't get it out of my head that you and I could have been standing elbow to elbow at the bakery or at Kaiser's. Not so much the funeral home. You could have been at Kaiser's in front of me And I'm standing there saying to myself, will you make up your mind already? Take the pork chops and go. Don't take all the Hungarian sausage. Save some for me. How far away did you live from Kaiser's? That still amazes me. Holy shit. That close? Wow. Now, did you go in there because it was convenient? Or did you go in there because you liked Hungarian food products? Because that's what their specialty was. I miss the peppered bacon. Because you just can't get it. And peppered bacon in a package sucks. I've tried it. What was great about even their regular bacon, it didn't shrink up to nothing like putting a big slice of bacon in, a piece comes out, it's about that big when it gets done. But the peppered bacon, oh my God. And the fresh Hungarian sausage, and the smoked Hungarian sausage, and the rice sausage. God, I haven't had rice sausage in ages. I think the last one I bought was from them. You mention rice sausage and people don't know what you're talking about. And that is a tough item to cook. Because if you try to cook it too fast, it'll explode. I remember my grandmother, God, she'd make rice sausage and she'd baby that. Well, I haven't been to Kaiser's easily 10 years. Easily. And the last time I was there, I got a couple pounds of regular bacon, a couple pounds of peppered bacon. I got a couple pounds of fresh Hungarian sausage and 3 rice sausages. And that's the last time I have had rice sausage. Because the only place you find that is a specialty. You can't walk into Gigantic Eaglet and buy a rice sausage. Yeah, it's got to be, let's see, this is what, 2025? 20, yeah, 10 years. 10 years since I've been out there. Man, that's sad. Now I'm missing rice sausage. Oh, jeez. And I got nowhere around here that I can get it. Maybe I'm going to have to call Sapels in Lakewood because they carry a lot of oddball. Either that or Dave's Market. I'm going to have to call them both and see if they carry it. Because I know Dave's carries a lot of the old world stuff. God, I probably don't even remember how to cook it. I'll open the oven and it'll be exploded. I think, if I remember right, I think my grandmother used to take a toothpick and put 1 or 2 holes in each end. I think that's the way she used to, so it wouldn't explode, because the grease has to get out of it. And I think she used to take a toothpick and pop 2 or 3 holes in either end and then slow bake it in the oven. I think that's the way she used to do it, to keep it from blowing up. Because my grandfather would have a shit fit if his goddamn rice sausage exploded. God damn it, Mary, don't you know how to cook this? Now, they make the rice sausage and blood sausage. I don't care for the blood sausage. I'll eat the rice sausage 7 days a week. I don't like the blood sausage. And my grandfather didn't care much for it either. Because, well, he'd go down the West Side Market and they always had it. Although he got it from Kaiser's because Kaiser's had a stand at the West Side Market. That's how I knew about Kaiser Meats. I didn't know they had the store in Bedford on Broadway until I went to the funeral home. And I'm on the way back after a funeral one day, I was like, whoa! I pulled in there with a fucking hearse. All their customers were like, I'm here for food. Don't worry, I'm not picking no body up out of the back room. I'm here to get food. Yeah, oh man, the looks I got when I pulled in there with a hearse, I didn't care. It's a Cadillac station wagon. Yeah, it's been 15 years. God, I hope they're still in business. I'm going to have to gargle it and call and see if they're still in business. You know, as the years pass, fewer and fewer customers like me. The customer base slowly disappears. Although they carry other meat there, so I mean, it's like going to your neighborhood butcher shop. Because they were one of the few that you could buy pork chops to stuff. Because I remember seeing them in the meat case. I says to you, give me like 4 of them and cut pockets in them. He goes, that's what they're for. Gladly. And I come home and I stuffed them. Stuffed pork chops. Mm-mm-mm. And I'll tell you what, they had the best spare ribs. Oh my God. Everything there was just 100% top notch. And see, the average person don't appreciate it. I could see the average person walking in going, oh my God, this stuff's expensive. That's one thing I never bitched about. I will pay for quality. And Kaiser's, everything was just top notch in that place. Like you say, their bacon, you'd put a strip in like that and it might shrink maybe an inch. But God, this shit you buy in the goddamn grocery store, first of all, it's paper thin. You can see through it. And you put it in the pan and it shrinks up. When I want bacon, I want bacon. And not every store carries an extra thick either, because people don't like it. If I'm going to make a BLT, I want to see the bacon hanging over the edge of the sandwich. Good old Kaiser's. Mm-mm-mm. I might, if they're still in business, I might have to take a ride out there. I'll have to do it after I get my check. I'll tell you what, I could easily drop $100 in that store. Easily. Because I'd go crazy. And give me some of that, some of that, some of that, some of that. Give me some of that. Mm-mm-mm. Oh my God, what I wouldn't give to live a mile away from that store. I'd be in there 3-4 times a week. That and the bakery. 2 stops. Instantly broke. Bakery, Kaiser's, broke. Done. Blow my budget right there. Oh, those are the days. Those are the days. Memories. And Kaiser's was one of the few that carry, and people don't know what it is when you tell them Hungarian roasting bacon. They have no idea what you're talking about. Of course, get some of that. Just looking at the package, my arteries would clog. That was another thing me and my grandfather would do. Get some Hungarian roasting bacon and have a ball. I miss him every day. Every day I miss him. All my happy times in life are with him. Between the food and everything he taught me, that was a sad day, a real sad day when and what made it worse was I had to find him. My grandmother, oh, that made it even worse. She was at a Catholic, what the hell was the name of that insurance company? First Catholic Ladies Slovak Union or something like that. They had a convention in Florida. She was in Florida and he passes away. My mother couldn't get him on the phone. She called me at work. I had to leave work, go over to the house. I walked in, peeked in the bedroom. He's still asleep. And then I was like, something don't look right. Went in to shake him. Oh, he's taking that permanent sleep. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Right at that point, I just sat and stared at the floor. I was like, no. This can't happen. Then I had to call the police. And then the police called the coroner. I didn't want to think that. I want to think happy thoughts. Well, I think it's dinner time. I think I'll finish the rest of my spaghetti sauce tonight. Yeah. I'll finish the rest because I got some nice big chunks of Italian sausage in there. That'll finish that up with my multicolored rotini noodles. Even though I've got angel hair, I like them curly cues. They hold more sauce. That's the way to eat spaghetti. And a pound of cheese. Make a pig out of myself. Okay, I think it's outro time. No, we don't want that music. No, no, no. We want this music. We know where, right here. 7 p.m. And with that, it's been another fun chat. Like two old friends sitting around the kitchen table with a cup of coffee. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And I will see you tomorrow. here